Today, I want to share with you the story of Charlie, the time that he hurt me so bad that I almost got rid of him. And he hurt me so bad, I should have went to the hospital. I didn't. I was raised that unless you were dying, you didn't go to the doctor. But I should have went to the hospital. I was hurt very bad. But this is going to be the story. Hopefully, I'm hoping that sharing this story, you're going to learn from my mistakes. So the story is Charlie. I got him about 6 years ago, and he was a horse that did not have he had very little human contact. He's never been started, never been ridden. He just lived in a patch, a big old field, hundreds of acres with other horses. He just didn't deal with people, okay? He was pretty much wild. Well, this is the second horse that I got from this lady, and because Charlie wasn't started, I did try to find somebody to help me start him because I knew he was going to be a difficult horse to start because of his personality. He's Charlie. If you ever heard that saying, you ask a stallion, tell a gelding, discuss it with the mare, pray if it's a pony. Well, that is true, and that's how Charlie is. Charlie, he has stallion tendencies. He's the type of horse, to this day, he's the type of horse that if you don't know what you're doing, he wants you off. He gets worried, he gets anxious, he's going to want you off. So that's the type of personality he is. So he was not a good choice for my first horse to start by myself. Not a good choice. But I couldn't find anybody. And I've had I had other horses. I had horses when I was a kid, so I did have some knowledge. And I was like, okay, I'm going to have to do this myself. So I got Charlie about 6 years ago, and when I brought him home, I let him settle. We did groundwork, lots of groundwork, probably too much groundwork. But I think it was about a couple months after I got him, I was like, okay, I'm going to prepare him for his first ride. And at this time, I did not have my round pin yet, and I did have to wait on my first ride because I promised my husband that I would not do my first ride without somebody home. So I had to wait for that too because everybody was busy. But in the meantime, I was preparing him for his first ride. I thought I was doing great. I thought he was almost ready. I was doing the whole getting him used to that saddle, getting up in the stirrup and getting him all comfortable with me up there. We did that for 3-4 days in a row. I thought he was doing great. I was not reading the signs. I definitely was not reading the signs. He was telling me he wasn't ready, but I missed the signs. But anyways, it was about the third or fourth day of doing all that, and I knew that he was, I was ready to do that first ride. I just did a session with him, and I was about to put him away. Well, my son unexpectedly came home from work, and he comes over and seeing how we were doing. I was like, well, since you're here, I'm going to do my first ride. So my son, this is the spot where it happened. This is where I had him. My son and my other horse were standing over in front, kind of to the side over there. They were just watching us. So here I'm feeling cocky, thinking, I got this. And so I tip his nose in before I get on, put my foot in the stirrup, get up there. I didn't swing my leg over yet. First sign he gave me was he raised his head up. I ignored it. I'm thinking, oh, he's okay. Everything's fine. He's not even moving. He's standing still. He's flexing his nose in, and he's being soft. So I'm thinking he's doing fine. Well, I swing my leg over and I sit down. As soon as I sit down, immediately I was like, oh, this is bad. I should not have done this. This is a bad mistake. My son said that when I sat down, Charlie's eyes were huge. His eyes were like, huge. So right there told me I should not have been getting on yet. Well, as soon as I sat down, Charlie was trying to take his nose away. So I still had him flexed, but I was in the halter. This is pretty much the setup I had. He was in a halter. He had tied the lead rope, had loop reins, pretty similar saddle. Now, he was giving me nose when I first got on, but when I sat down, he was trying to take it away. And I was holding on. I had a death grip. He was really trying hard to get his nose straight. Well, eventually, I kept saying, please, flex your nose. I was really Because my plan is if I can get him to calm down, I'm going to get off. I don't want to do the first ride yet. I want off. So I kept tipping his nose in. I was trying to get him to settle. He wasn't settling. He got his nose away from me. As soon as he got his nose away from me, he takes off down the pasture, okay? I think I would have stayed on longer because he was bucking. My son said I could feel it. He said he was kicking out. He was bucking pretty good. And I was staying on. I think I lasted, 3-4 seconds, something like that. And I think I would have lasted longer. But when he got down to the middle of the pasture, he took a sharp left. And that threw me off. So I go flying through the air. I land. And the first thing I feel, that was my second mistake. I did not have a helmet on. I should have had a helmet on. So I felt my head hit the ground. And then I felt my hip hit the ground. So because my son said I was pretty high when I fell. Well, it knocked the breath out of me. The wind was knocked out. So I was laying there. Charlie takes off to the middle of the pasture. My son said my other horse, she took off after him. And my son comes running down. And at first he was scared because I wasn't moving. And by the time he gets there, I start moving. And I look over and Charlie and my other horse are standing in the middle staring at me. And at first I couldn't stand up because I was trying to catch my breath. But my son felt relieved because at first I wasn't moving. He said, as soon as I seen that you were moving, I felt a lot better. So then after about a minute, I tried to stand up. I couldn't stand up. I had to sit back down. And because my adrenaline was so high, I wasn't feeling any pain yet. So after about a minute, I stood up. I was like, okay, I think I can stand up now. So I was like, instantly, I was mad. You know how you get mad. I knew it wasn't his fault. I knew it was my fault, but I was frustrated. I was mad. I was hurt. So here I'm like, I'm cussing. I'm mad. I go over to Charlie. He actually lets me catch him. He's already calmed down by the time I get over there. So I catch him, and my son was like, hey, do you want me to attack him? I was like, no, I'm going to attack him. I'm going to attack him. I'm going to get the trailer. I'm going to put him in the trailer. I'm going to go take him back. I don't want him anymore, I was just going off. And still, I didn't feel it, because my adrenaline was so high, I still did not feel how bad I was hurt. So I go get Charlie untacked. I go in the house. I go in my bedroom, sit down. My son follows me in there. I start crying. I'm upset. So I start crying. I was like, I don't want him anymore. I can't believe he did it to me. And so I was just blubbering. Well, I started to calm down, and that's when I started feeling the first pain, and that was my hand. Because I was holding on to that lead rope so tight, he gave me a rope burn. So I started having a blister all the way down my hand, and it hurt. So my son had to get me a cup of ice water, and my hand had to stay in there for a long time, quite a few hours before that burning would calm down. But then after that, I started feeling some pain in my hip. And it gradually just started getting worse and worse. And I was like, oh my, that hurts. So I told my son, can you please run down the store, get me the good stuff, give me the Advil. I don't want generic, So he goes down and gets me some Advil, comes back, and the whole time he's gone, I'm like, oh my goodness, this pain is just, it's horrendous. I'm feeling it bad. So he gets there, and I'm popped my Advil. I'm calming down by then. I'm like, okay, I'm good. I just want to be by myself, because he was pretty worried about me because, I'm crying. I'm upset. So, anyways, that night I didn't sleep. For 3 days, I had to pee in a bucket. I couldn't even get off the couch. For a week, I could stand up, but I had to hold on to stuff, and I could only shuffle like this, really slow, to get from point A to point B. It took 3 weeks for me to be able to come outside and start helping with chores. Yeah, I still couldn't do the chores by myself. In the meantime, I'm still not doing any horse stuff at all. And I think it was about, maybe it was 6 weeks where I actually could start coming out and messing with the horses again, but it was really slow stuff, just groundwork. I still wasn't even on a horse yet. I think it took 3 months before I could get on one of my other horses, not Charlie. So because it turned into winter time, I was like, okay, I'm just going to wait till spring and just do a whole new restart with Charlie. So springtime came. My husband built me a round pen. The whole winter time, I was just doing, just trying to learn as much as I can about colt starting horses. The whole time during the winter time, I was just doing my homework. So springtime comes, I have my round pen. I decided to start Charlie bareback. That I don't know why. I think it was, the fact is, I had that memory of when I got on him, I wanted off, but I couldn't just slide off. You know what I mean? So I was like, I'm starting him bareback, and it worked. He did great. So his next few rides, they went great, uneventful, and that's the time where Charlie hurt me so bad that I almost got rid of him, and I should have went to the hospital. So I hope you enjoyed that. I hope that you learned from my mistakes. Wear a helmet and read your horse. Please read your horse. He gave me signs and I didn't listen. So, all right. Well, until next time, Charlie and I thank you for watching. Bye-bye.